Hello peeps, this is Tango, and I think today might be the best day of my life. Because I have gotten permission to read Better Luck Next Time by Nautical Warrior. I feel like I might start crying. Okay, first of all, I just wanted to say that the permission for this fic was given to me through Discord. Because I contacted the creator through there because probably I doubted that they would actually see my comment. And they have a Discord server for this fic. I looked for this fic online on YouTube to see if there was a recorded version. There wasn't. And I was like, no way could I actually get to do this. Because this is my probably, okay, so I just reread it. And so I have to say now, I'd say this is definitely my number one favorite fic. It is so great. There is like warnings and stuff, a lot. But anyways, I sent a message asking to podfic it. I don't think I can copy the message that they said, but I just can't show proof that they did that. I mean, I could probably post a picture of the comment and the conversation, but I don't know, I can't put that in the description. I feel like no one would want to read that, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyways, they said, thank you, this is really sweet, you are welcome to podfic with credit, of course I'm going to give credit. Oh my gosh, this is literally amazing. I love Nautical Warrior, their fics, amazing, literally, go check them out, please give kudos. Okay, so this fic is 123 chapters. It says out of question mark, so it says not finished or I don't know. Wait, does that mean it's not finished? I don't know. Something like that. At comments 9,232. That's kind of why I thought they wouldn't see my comment. And this has 1 million fics. Sorry, I paused it there for a second. This was published in 2020. This was last updated in 2022, so I'm pretty sure it's finished. I reread this a few weeks ago. I didn't actually end up getting to the very last chapter. I got to 120. I didn't get to 123, so I don't remember if it's actually the end. But we'll see, okay? So, the warnings for this is graphic depictions of violence and major character death, way too many times. And it's very descriptive. So, yes, definitely, if you have a lot of I don't know, if you can't handle suicide and things like that, please don't listen to this video because it's gonna have a lot of that. I love this so much. Okay, summary. As he falls, he lets himself think about it. He lets himself think that if he wakes up, if things go back again, it means that he does have a quirk. It means he really can take a swan dive off a roof and hope for a better luck in his next life. It means that all along he's been useless and worthless because he hasn't died yet. He hits the ground. And then he opens his eyes. Vigilante Izuku AU, where Izuku has a quirk that rewinds time when he dies. Hiatus. Oh, hiatus? Is that how you say hiatus? Hiatus? I don't know. This will eventually be adapted into an original work. For more updates and information, my Twitter is Nautical Warrior with an O as the O in warrior in the second word. Yay. Notes. Hi, I'm really excited to publish this. I actually wrote all this chapter and another chapter in one day, so there should be an update soon. I'm going to update tags and warnings as things go along, but please keep in mind that this fic will contain multiple graphic descriptions of suicide. Even though Izuku can't permanently die, he definitely still kills himself. Specific chapter warnings will be in endnotes for each chapter. I will not be including a warning for suicide or canon typical violence in the end chapter notes. Oh my gosh. Even if it occurs in that chapter. This fic was inspired by a lot of things, especially Viridian the Green Guide and ReZero. I hope you enjoy. Note, added 3/17/2021. Please be respectful in reading and commenting on this fic. Do not read this fic if suicide, self-harm, or violence are triggering for you. I have made it abundantly clear that this fic contains those topics. If you read and get triggered, that's on you. Please don't leave comments saying that I'm triggering you, that graphically describing your trauma, or what you are saying to plan on killing yourself. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a helpline. If this fic makes you suicidal, upset, or angry, then stop reading it. Edit. 12/11/2021. Thank you for reading and for the continued support on this fic. If you're a new reader, just a heads up that certain parts of this fic are extremely graphic. As far as torture and gore go, I was in a bad place when I wrote them, and they're hard to read for even me, lol. Just be warned. Okay, sorry, this is 5 minutes in. We still haven't started on this chapter, but I just wanted to say that every time that I read this, I'm going to first go to the end notes and read off the trigger warnings just in case, because, yeah. Also, we're going to see if this one will even stay up on YouTube, because if this video is taken down, then I can't post it. And I won't be able to post this fic, because it is pretty violent, so I'm not even sure if YouTube will, be like, no, you know? Okay. Chapter 1, Beginnings. Kachan's hand on his shoulder is smoldering hot, popping and crackling with little explosions that burn even through his middle school uniform. Izuku leans back, but Kachan leans forward, his minty breath and eyes narrowed in anger, his grip tightening painfully on Izuku's shoulder. In other words, don't you dare get into UA, nerd, Kachan growls, his words punctuated by a series of pops from his hand, and Izuku can't stop himself from breaking eye contact. His whole body is shaking with stupid fear. He's still frozen there, in the almost empty classroom, while Kachan and his friends start to stalk out of the room, their shoes clicking on the linoleum tiles. Oh, and Deku? Kachan says, you want to be a hero? I've got an idea for you. His voice mocking, light, and Izuku doesn't turn to look at him. Take a swan dive from the roof and pray you get a quirk in the next life, he sneers, and that makes Izuku turn, makes his head whip around, eyes hot with tears. He tries to say something, anything, but something hot and ugly is bubbling up in his chest, and he can't say anything at all. Kachan narrows his eyes. He raises a hand and lets off a small explosion. Yeah, what? He says, crackling smoke and light in his hand, before he turns and follows his buddies out of the classroom. Izuku can hear them laughing in the hallway. He thinks that he hears someone tell Kachan that was funny. Funny. Izuku bites his lip, clenches and unclenches his fists. Idiot. If I jump, you'll be blamed with bullying me into suicide, he thinks. If I jump. Izuku walks slowly through the empty halls of Aldera Junior High. His shoulders hurt from where Kachan burned it, and his head hurts from his clogged sinuses, his nose and throat irritated from holding back tears. He walks out the front doors, turns to the little pond under the window, with all the koi and fish nipping at the edges of his precious notebook. That's not fish food, he mutters, his eyes filling with tears anew. He feels like he's going to be sick as he pulls his 13th analysis notebook out of the water, the ash sliding off and the water smearing the ink on the page. He dries it off with the edges of his sleeve, but the shiny fabric doesn't want to absorb the water. It smells like a camping trip, like old burnt-out flames and green swamping smell of river or lake. Izuku clutches the notebook to his chest. He lets himself sob quietly as he walks from the school. The familiar sights are blurring together, probably since he's upset. Maybe that's why he misses the villain and doesn't see it coming. He certainly feels it, though. Green slime wrapping itself around his throat in a chokingly tight hold. The sludge grips him, and the villain laughs. Just calm down, it sneers. It'll only hurt for about 45 seconds, and then it'll be over. His voice reminds Izuku of Kachan. For the briefest moment, he starts to fight back, and then relaxes. The villain is fluid, and he wouldn't be able to do anything anyways. He lets himself go limp and lets the villain's force its way down his throat. He feels like choking, like swallowing something down the wrong pipe, but worse. Like his lungs are going to split open. The villain smells vaguely like the koi pond, sludgy and swampy and green. Izuku's vision is starting to go black when he wonders which hero is on duty today. Would they find him on time? He finds it hard to care as his vision cuts out completely, the sensation of choking replaced with a dull pain in his chest. It's not a swan dive off the roof of a building, but, Kachan, maybe I'll get a quirk in my next life anyway, he thinks as his consciousness slips away. Izuku opens his eyes, gasps for air, and reaches for his throat desperately, feeling nothing but clean skin. He's not outside, in that tunnel, not surrounded by fading afternoon light and green slime. He's in the classroom, and Kachan has his hand on his shoulder. Izuku coughs, rubbing his throat. What the fuck is wrong with you? Kachan asks, then shoves him aside. Whatever. I don't want to catch whatever he has, he says, taking a step away from Izuku and sulking after his friends. Izuku watches his back move, watching him pause in the doorway and turn his head back, a sneer on his lips. I meant it about you, Deku. If you show up there, I'll kill you myself. The whole being dead thing? No. Kachan spits, the fluid landing on the floor in front of him. Izuku keeps a hand on his throat, panting as Kachan shrugs and leaves the classroom, slamming the door behind him hard enough to rattle the desks closest to it. Izuku stares. I died. He blinks and looks down at his hands. They don't look any different. He doesn't feel any different. His chest doesn't hurt, doesn't burn, and his uniform is clean and dry. His notebook is still gone, probably in the koi pond where he found it before. Unless that was a daydream? Izuku's never been the daydreaming type before, not like that anyway. He shoves his shaking hands into his pockets and listens for the sound of a conversation, but Kachan and his buddies seem to have already left. He sighs in relief and makes his way over to the door and opens it. He walks down the hall just like before, walks to the koi pond. His notebook is there, floating as the fish investigate. No, he whispers, pulling it out and shaking it off, not bothering to wipe it off this time. Not for you guys. The fish don't reply. Of course not. But they do swim away from where the notebook was, drifting idly in the little pond. Izuku stares off at his reflection in the water, stained gray from the concrete below. He looks tired, scared. Nothing abnormal. He doesn't know what just happened. He tucks his notebook under one arm and starts to walk away from the school, taking a different route than before. Did he really die? The afternoon looks the same as before, warm golden light spilling across the ground from the sun, shadows angled low. He walks along a brick wall for a bit, his shoes scraping on the concrete sidewalk, before he pauses. Is he under the effects of someone's quirk? He takes a breath, pauses. He doesn't have a dry notebook to write in right now, but he thinks he can think like he would when he's writing. What does he know? He knows he left school already once today. He knows he was attacked by a villain in the tunnel on his way home. He knows he didn't fight back, and as a result, he died. He knows he didn't actually die, and he knows Kachan reacted to him acting strangely. What doesn't he know? He doesn't know if any of this actually happened. He doesn't know if he's under the effects of a quirk, or if he is, whose quirk it would be, and he doesn't know that if fighting back against the villain would make any difference. Izuku does know one thing. If he wants to know if this was real, if that villain was actually there at the end of the tunnel, he's got one way to find out. He turns on his heels and walks in the direction of the tunnel, his survival instincts screaming at him not to. But he already died once, and Izuku doesn't want to leave this unsolved. After all, he'd already died once, if this is actually happening. Some small part of him doesn't mind. He wonders if he'd be missed, and then he shakes his head. Of course, Mom would be devastated. He marches onward, turning on the familiar street. He'll approach the end of the tunnel, and the villain had been waiting last time, or at least he thinks. He wishes he'd been paying more attention last time, but he remembers Kachan's words, if he actually said them. Who's to say this isn't all Izuku's overactive imagination? He remembers being told to take a swan dive off the roof. He remembers the sneer on Kachan's face, the amusement of his friends, and Izuku hopes that wasn't real. But something ugly in him twists and whispers that Kachan would say something to someone like you. He sees the tunnel entrance, and it looks a little odd to be facing in this direction in the afternoon. Normally when he goes through it from this side, it's morning, with the sun behind him and not crowning the top of the bridge in an orange-yellow halo. He squints against the light. Hopefully, the villain didn't leave in the time that it took Izuku to make this decision. He's not sure what he'd do if he could confirm or deny that he died. Well, come back? He's not sure what to call it, to be honest. Izuku sees the villain before it sees him this time. It's a massive sludge already, meaning it didn't have any time to take a human form, except those eyes and mouth. He gasps a little when he sees it slide out of the tunnel, and he covers his mouth too late. The villain's eyes are swiveling to focus on him, and the villain's mouth contorts in a wide, ugly grin, and Izuku hears a familiar voice. Perfect! A medium-sized body to hide in. The villain rushes forward at him at this point, and Izuku braces himself, but the impact still hurts. He covers his mouth and nose with his hands, writhing at the sludge as the sludge wraps around him, squeezing. It's oddly dry for a sludge quirk, not sticking to his clothes so much as enveloping him. Izuku takes a deep breath of air before the sludge wraps it around his hands where they guard his mouth and nose. His hands still ache from strain, and the sludge tries to push itself between his fingers. Smart fucking kid, stop resisting. It's only gonna hurt more if you make me wait, he says, and Izuku thrashes harder at that, remembering the horrible choking sensation. Holding his breath like this is better, so much better. Even so, he can feel his limbs starting to grow weak. He can't pull his head out of the grip, and even when he tosses his head back hard enough to make his neck ache, he thinks hysterically that he's going to die again. He can feel his eyes fill with more painful tears, his chest burning from the lack of oxygen. His head starts to fill with fuzziness, and he realizes that the villain was right. It did hurt more to resist. Just as Izuku feels his limbs go limp, he hears a familiar voice. Fear not, kid, for I am here! All Might's voice rings out, and the hero punches the sludge villain hard enough that Izuku can feel the force of the villain being knocked off of him. He keeps his hands over his mouth and nose, gasping desperately for air. He watches the 2 tears hit the sidewalk, turning into 2 dark little circles. Before he hits the ground, he tries to get up, but he's shaking too hard. He's dizzy and weak, and he recognizes that he's laying on his side, limp, but he's not totally unconscious. Is he going to die anyway? Hey, All Might says, voice quieter, and he taps on the side of Izuku's face. Hey, kid, he says, a little louder, and it seems to be enough to wake Izuku's body up, and he opens his eyes the rest of the way. Oh, thank goodness, All Might says with a grin, standing up. Izuku pushes himself onto his elbows, staring up at the hero. You're okay, excellent. What? I'm sorry for getting you caught up in my villain hunt. All Might cuts him off, putting both of his hands on his hips. But my success here is all due to you, he says, grinning and holding the bottle of familiar green sludge. I've contained the villain. Izuku blinks, and then he feels his face split into a grin as he hops to his feet. Wow! He reaches for his half-destroyed notebook where it fell on the ground. Can I get... He trails off, staring at the autograph already in his notebook. Thank you! He shouts, bowing to All Might. Then he straightens to see the hero walking away from him. Now I must get this to the authorities, All Might says, not even looking back at Izuku. He crouches down in what Izuku knows is his stance when he's preparing to jump, and Izuku's legs move without him telling him to. He sprints at All Might, wrapping his arms around the hero's leg just in time as the hero shoots through the air. Izuku has to close his eyes against the rush of wind. Hey, he hears All Might's voice, muffled by the wind. I appreciate the enthusiasm, but this is too much. He kicks his leg a little. Get down! If I let go, I'll die! Izuku shouts as a reply, his voice warped all the way from the wind, making his lips and cheeks flap around. Right, All Might says, and Izuku sees him grimace. Well, hold on and shut your eyes and mouth. Izuku complies, and then he abruptly realizes that he's holding on to All Might's leg. He feels a rush of adrenaline push through him as they land on what looks like a rooftop. He opens his eyes and then releases All Might. He looks up to see his idol leaning against the railing of the roof, facing away from him. I have something I need to ask you. Izuku says, and All Might glances back at him. I don't have time, All Might says, crouching slightly, like he's going to jump again. Can someone become a hero even without a quirk? Izuku gasps it out, taking a step forward towards his hero and squeezing his eyes shut, not willing to see that look on All Might's face. He needs to hear this. He needs someone to tell him he can become a hero. He starts to mutter about why he wants to be a hero and about All Might, saving people with a smile, and he opens his eyes, and All Might's gone. An imposter? He shouts, taking a step by. You're an imposter! He asks the skeletal form, and its dark eyes track to his face, grimacing at him. No, he replies, and Izuku takes another step back. I'm All Might. But you're all shriveled up, he replies, his voice barely a mumble, and he sees the blood at All Might's mouth. You know how guys at the pool are always sucking in and flexing and trying to hold their buff? I'm like that, All Might says, and Izuku gapes. No way, he replies, staring at the skeletal person in front of him. He does resemble All Might, but in the same way chopsticks resemble telephone poles. I'm counting on you to keep your mouth shut. Don't go talking about this online or telling your friends, All Might says, and he turns his head away from Izuku to lift his shirt up with one hand. The scar he reveals is horrible, like he was grabbed at the chest and twisted. It's red, angry, and the veins are visible under the thin skin, but the worst part is how sunken it is. Izuku covers his mouth with one hand, stopping himself from gasping at it, and All Might lets his shirt flutter back down with a sigh. Pretty gross, right? I got this from a big fight 5 years back. My respiratory system was basically destroyed. I lost my whole stomach. All the surgeries have pretty much worn me out and it can't be fixed. Right now, I can only do hero work for about 3 hours a day. The rest of the time, this is what I look like. He turns away from Izuku again. 5 years ago? Izuku mumbles. Does that mean it was the fight with Toxic Chainsaw? All Might glances back at him and chuckles. No, you know your stuff. But Toxic Chainsaw isn't enough to do something like this. The fight with this, person, it was never publicized. And I did everything I could to keep it under wraps. I'm supposed to be the guy who always smiles, right? I'm the symbol of peace. People everywhere have to think I'm never afraid. But honestly, I smile to hide the fear inside. He cracks a painful-looking smile. It's just a brave face I put on when the pressure is high. This job isn't easy. He frowns. Pro heroes are always having to risk their lives. Some villains just can't be beaten without powers. So, no. I don't think you can be a hero without a quirk. He meets Izuku's eyes, and Izuku tries not to cry. He feels his tears rising and biting at his eyes, but thankfully All Might turns away from him. If you want to help people, there's plenty of other ways to do it. You can become a police officer. They get crap because heroes capture the most of the villains, but it's a fine profession. It's not bad to have a dream, young man, but just make sure your dreams are attainable, realistic. Understand? All Might rambles on, coughing when he finishes, but Izuku can't process the words. He can't be a hero. If All Might said it, then it must be true, right? He can't be a hero. An explosion rings out from behind him, possibly a few blocks back, but it's still loud enough to make him gasp. All Might turns and grits his teeth. I have to go check this out, he says, not even looking at Izuku. You can knock on the door, and I'm sure some people downstairs will let you in if it's locked. He doesn't make eye contact. He just puffs into his muscle form and coughs before jumping away. Izuku just stares. Izuku wonders, briefly, if he could have said something different. If he had worded it differently, maybe if he had taken down the villain himself. Instead of waiting, he wonders if he'd get a second chance, if he died. He looks around. The building is taller than the others around, and all the roofs were empty. All Might probably landed here because it was tall. The only thing stopping him was a chain link around the fence and around the perimeter of the roof. Izuku walks up to it, climbs it. The metal digs into the flesh of his hands, and he pauses at the top. What if he doesn't wake up, like last time? What if he doesn't die? He looks down. His head swims sickeningly at the distance. Oh, he'll die. He doesn't stop himself to let him have more time to think about this. He scrambles over the edge of the chain link fence and steps into the ledge between him and the 10-story more? He can't tell. Fall. He takes a deep breath and jumps. As he falls, he lets himself think about it. He lets himself think about if he wakes up, if things go back again. It means he really can take a swan dive off a roof and hope for better luck in his next life. It means that all along he's been useless and worthless because he hasn't died yet. He hits the ground. Izuku opens his eyes, expecting Kachan's hand on his shoulder and the fluorescent lights of the classroom. But instead, the wind is blowing across the roof and whipping across his face. He's staring at the chain link fence from where he was standing when All Might jumped away. He sees the clouds drifting across the sky, high above the buildings, tinted red and orange with the setting sun. He blinks. He has a quirk, though the thought is foreign to him, and he doesn't know what to think other than he has a quirk. It didn't make sense, really. He's been diagnosed quirkless at the age of 5 based on the fact that him lacking the extra toe joint. A battery of tests hasn't revealed any evidence of a quirk, and he was told that this just happens sometimes. It's caused by 2 quirks canceling each other out completely, or by having a latent quirk that was weak and so it was undetectable. Sometimes to genetic regress. A quirked family might have a child that lacks the genes for a quirk, but kept the evolved toes. He should pick a different dream. Nobody's quirks have ever manifested past the age of 6 anyways. He had held out till his 6th birthday before he had let himself believe it. And here he was, at 14, learning of his quirk for the first time. Izuku couldn't die. He sits down on the concrete roof and breathes. If he does, he's taken back shortly before the event, and he's not sure how far back it'll go, though does it depend on what killed him? He starts to take his notebook out to write when the sound of another explosion catches his attention. He looks in the direction it came from just to see another, bright and flashy. It looks familiar. Before he knows what he's doing, he's rushing in the direction of the blasts. He doesn't think he wants to analyze the heroes working at the rescue, not after what just happened anyways. It wouldn't feel right. But he still finds himself running along the streets, towards the sound of a struggle. He feels his heart beating fast in his chest as he runs towards the corner to see the same sludge villain. He gasps. He recognizes it, and he stands on his tiptoes to see over the crowd. There's a shock of blonde hair in the villain's grasp, and Izuku feels dread gather in the pit of his stomach. Did he make All Might drop the bottle when he grabbed onto him? If so, then this would be his fault. He sees the boy in the villain's grasp twist, grabbing a breath of air just as another volley of explosions goes off. Izuku finds his breath taken away when he recognizes Kachan, his face red from exertion and damp from sweat. Why weren't the heroes stepping in? Izuku glances around desperately, only to see a hero working to put the fires out and another gathering civilians, but none of them are helping Kachan. He doesn't even think. His legs carry him on his own, and he pushes through the crowd and runs at the villain. He doesn't know what to do, though, and when he gets to the villain, it's ready for him. It slams a mass of thick sludge into his face, knocking him into the asphalt. A burst of red, hot pain erupts the side of his head, and woozily he pulls himself up. The villain is right in front of him, and Kachan struggles, making the villain writhe and bubble. The villain lurches toward him, and a flash of an explosion is the last thing he sees. When Izuku blinks, his eyes open. He's on top of the roof again. He swears he can still feel the heat of the explosions, but this time he doesn't hesitate to run down the stairs, through the streets, and he rushes at the villain again. This time, but Kachan's quirk kills him before he even gets close. On the 3rd try, he takes a second to blink the sunspots out of his eyes before he moves. The roof is quiet and windy as ever, and Izuku can hear the sounds of Kachan's quirk like before, but he doesn't rush. He sits down and opens his notebook, flipping through the pages. He's delighted to see that it's all still legible, at least for him reading his own handwriting anyways. He flips through the pages, looking for where he'd written down about some villain similar to this one. His heart thumps in his chest, and he wants nothing more to get down there to save Kachan. But he doesn't. He doesn't get up. Even though he remembers how it felt to have the villain choking you while you fought back. He remembers the desperate plea in Kachan's eyes. He doesn't move, because he knows from personal experience that he will die if he doesn't go in with a game plan. If it takes too long, he'll just kill himself and rewind. Izuku finds a page in his journal, just a half-filled one, but this is what he needs. It's over an intern hero in training who can turn herself into water, except it's only for her head. It's a good power, but he's written down the weaknesses, including the fact that her head, clearly being solid, gives it away. As her weak point, seeing it written so plainly, Izuku feels dumb. He gathers up his bag and notebook and runs to the scene, hoping he'll get there in time and won't have to die to make this work. The scene isn't any different from last time, except there's more fire and the crowd has grown bigger. Izuku feels a swell of anger as he pushes through the crowd. The heroes are right there, and they haven't done anything. They're watching Kachan choke and die, and they aren't moving because they're not a good match. Izuku bites his lip and stops himself from making a face. He forces his way through the barrier, ignoring the shouts behind him. He lobs his backpack at the villain's eyes. He sees it hit out of the corner of his eyes and whips around to glare directly at Kamui Woods. The eyes, he pants, pointing at the sledge villain and praying Kamui listens to him and moves before the villain recovers. Hit it in the eyes. Kamui's eyes widen slightly, and he nods, whipping out 2 wooden branches and smacking the villain in its eyes. Right as it opens, and Izuku's backpack is Right as it opens, the one that Izuku's backpack had hit. The pain seems to be enough, and Kachan struggles free, dropping to the ground and gasping for air. The ground around him crackles with the force of the explosions he lets out, and then he's on his feet, stumbling towards the police officers that are grabbing Izuku and pulling him back. Kachan makes eye contact with him, and the other heroes jump into the fray, apparently spurred by Kamui fighting the villain. Without Kachan setting off new explosions, it looks like the fire wasn't a big issue for them, and Izuku stares as Kamui wraps a wooden tendril around the sledge villain's mouth like a gag. "Hey kid," the officer says next to him, nudging him. "You alright? You shouldn't really cross police barriers." Izuku looks up and nods. "I'm okay. Sorry." The officer shrugs. "You had a smart idea." He looks back over at the fight, and Izuku slips behind him, pushing back into the crowd, and a couple people say something to him, but he ignores it. He walks away from the scene. He'll get his backpack later, when the fires have gone out. His notebook is plenty burned anyways, and for right now, all he wants to do is sleep. A hand on his shoulder stops him, and he turns to see the skeleton form of All Might. "Kid," All Might says, "you've got a good head on your shoulders." He sighs. "I know I was harsh earlier, but you'd make a really good detective. Don't let your dream get in the way of your potential." He smiles, but Izuku thinks it looks creepy in this form. Izuku smiles back, but it doesn't reach his eyes. "It's okay. Thank you, All Might," he says, and then brushes the hand off his shoulder and walks away. He doesn't need All Might's approval, not anymore. He isn't quirkless. He has a quirk, and he's not going to let it go to waste. Oh my god, that was the end of the chapter. I'm so happy right now. Oh my gosh. Okay. I want to know what you guys thought. Did you guys like that? Did you guys like that? Did you like that fic? Did you like the first chapter? Oh my gosh, this chapter is so good. I love the full thing. This whole thing is so amazing. It's probably going to take me a while. Also, currently, it's the end of the school year, so I'm pretty busy with stuff, and so I don't know when I'm going to be able to record the next chapter, but once I get a schedule ready, then I'll start, having a certain day that I'll record this one and post this one, or, maybe twice a week or something, and it'll be, a different one for a different time. So, this took me probably, an hour to record, because I had to keep recording, because I kept squealing. Not squealing, that sounds weird. I don't know, I was excited. I was, really happy, and every time something happened, I was like, yes, let's go. Totally, oh my gosh. Yes. Better Luck Next Time. Have you heard the song Better Luck Next Time? I like that song, and I was listening to it. I mean, it's fine. I don't know, there's good edits of it. Better Luck Next Time. I don't know, it's I swear on my life, I always try, but in my eyes, I could fly. Sigh. Better luck next time. I don't know. So that I was listening to that on repeat while I read this fic. When I was rereading it. Sorry. I love this so much. Okay, so let's see. Let's go previous chapter and see what has happened in this chapter. Okay, so I relate to this. Okay, that's like probably not good, but I do relate to this like a lot with some of the things that Izuku is like, yeah. But I love how they kept like they kept a bunch of the things similar, but I love when Katsuki says like wait, what is that? Where is it? Oh my god. Okay. He says like hope for better luck next time. He doesn't say like pray for quirk in your next life and why don't you pray for a quirk in your next life and take a swan dive off the roof of the building or something like that. It's a little bit different. It just says it says like take a swan dive off the roof and pray you get a quirk in the next life. Or wait. No, the other one was like pray for better luck next time because it's better luck next time. Also there is OCs in this, so there's they have their own fandom? What? Wait, I need to see this. What? No, wait, no, that's a My Hero fandom. Why did it say that there was a better luck next time fandom? What? I'm so confused. Wait, 1 second. Let me try to figure this out. Okay, so it says fandoms, My Hero Academia and Better Luck Next Time fandom. Is Better Luck Next Time? Better Luck Next Time. It's a song. Oh, there's another song. Yeah, there is. Oh. There's bands. I don't know. There's a novel called Better Luck Next Time. So maybe that's what it is. Does this relate to anything? I don't think it does. But anyways. Oh my gosh. This is gonna end up being like 40 minutes long. But also, if you don't want to listen to this, just like skip it. Go to the next chapter if I posted it. If not, then you better luck next time. Let's go. Oh my gosh, that's ashes. Okay. Oops. And okay, I like All Might being All Might and the All Might scenes, and I don't know. All Might's an okay character, but if he's put in right, I like that it wasn't like just like totally Izuku outright hating him, like right away, like just like, oh fuck you, I hate you so much, like you motherfucking idiot. Not like that. Sorry for that swearing. Like, I normally don't swear very much. But like instead he was like, okay, yeah, I don't need your approval. I'll just prove you wrong. But like, I don't hate you because you're a hero. You're a good person. But like, that was like the wrong thing to say, honestly, man. Like, you screwed up, but like, I don't hate you. I feel like that's what I'm getting from this. And also, I've read this fic, so like, I don't know. I also kind of already forgot. No, I'm like, okay, I know the story, okay? I know what happens and everything. I just don't remember specifics. Because that's what's my problem. I have memory problems, guys. Let's go. Anyways, I like that he, like, it's realistic the way he dies. Like, you can feel him dying. Okay, anyways, I am so grateful to Nautical Warrior for actually allowing me to read this fic. Like, my answer to their saying yes, I said, oh, keyboard smash. Me tweaking out right now. I was thinking you weren't going to respond because I sent it like a week before they answered. They answered yesterday. I just wasn't on Discord yesterday, so I didn't check. I was thinking you weren't going to respond. Thank you so much. Of course, I will give you credit. This is honestly my favorite. Just finished rereading it. I'm so honored that you allowed me to record this. You are allowing me. Okay. I like re-recorded it because I really wanted this to be like super perfect because I adore this so much. Since I adore it so much, I had to like read it really well. And normally I make many more mistakes. I actually did much better. Also, I think it's good because this person, no offense to other people, but some of the other fics I've read, they have, some mistakes that they might throw me off. I mean, like, you guys are writing really well. Like, your writing is awesome, guys. Like, you are amazing people, amazing writers. The only thing is, if it says something wrong, I might read it wrong, and then I have to re-record that. Or, like, I'll just continue anyways. Or, like, a sentence might not make sense because of, like, 2 details. Yeah. But I'm so happy I could fly. What? I should leave kudos. Oh, I love kudos. Oh, wait, right, because I have never left kudos on this. How is that impossible? Oh, I read it as a guest. That's right. The first time I read it, because I was reading it on my Kindle. Because, like, I can read on my Kindle, and no one knows what I'm reading. They're like, oh, she's reading a book. Nope. Anyways. Graduating soon, so I'm gonna be busy whenever I might just end up posting this once I'm done with graduating and everything's so that I can just have it be more consistently posting, and so I don't keep people waiting, but we'll see. Currently it is May 19th. I have 2 weeks of school left, so we'll see when this is posted. Anyways, thank you so much for listening. This is Tango signing off. Bye.